The rush is on. Passengers packing airports, drivers hitting the road. 38 million Americans traveling this Memorial Day weekend.
Staying ahead of the Memorial Day travel rush, we're helping you get to your destination fast and safe.
Explosive weather. A police officer's dash cam captures a lightning strike just feet from his patrol car. A possible tornado in Texas, popping power lines.
It's the worst we've ever seen by far.
More severe storms hammer the heartland.
A-F-T Gazelle Show.
That is correct.
Twice as nice, two champs at this year's National Spelling Bee. How this local speller fared in the competition.
Live from WJXT, the morning show starts now.
From Jacksonville to Atlanta to Los Angeles, travelers are already heading out to start their Memorial Day weekend. No matter if you fly or if you drive, it's going to be busy out there. Good morning. Appreciate you joining us. You're not the only one with big plans this weekend.
Yeah, more than 231 million people are expected to fly somewhere over the next 3 days, which means you need to get to the airport early, especially considering the pictures that we've seen lately. Check this out. This is what it looked like recently at Reagan Airport. That's up in D.C. And next line in Chicago at O'Hare. And this is always backed up.
You've been hearing about the problems TSA has had about moving people efficiently through. And they're saying even if you have a domestic flight, get there 3 hours early. These pictures, by the way, were posted on Twitter by travelers using the hashtag #IHateTheWait, which is this whole big movement that started because of TSA's inefficiency and poor staffing. Memorial Day travel's estimated to be up 10% from last year. Crystal and Blake are looking at local traffic and weather, and Yasmin Vasujan is live in Atlanta, where many of you may be catching a connection.
Yeah, but first, Ashley Harding joins us from JAX. Ashley, I know the line to get through security looked a little longer this morning. Is it any better now? It looks like it behind you.
It certainly is, Jen. You know, for our viewers who are watching at 5:30, I will tell you this was packed. It's a lot slower now. Some people are starting to make their way, but it's definitely a lot easier. People are able to pretty much just walk through. You can see this gentleman is helping out right here. She's going right into pre-check. Those people are going to standard passenger screening. You can see no problems. Just walk right in, visit TSA, do what you need to do. But you know something, the day is still young, so a lot more flights are going to be coming out here. Something to think about. There are some options to help you if those lines get long again. This is one option right here. This is TSA checkpoint, and you can pre-check, excuse me, rather. And this is how it works. Expedited screening in this lane. You can keep those shoes on. You can keep your laptop in your bag. You can also keep your belt. But there are some questions as to, well, is it really even worth it? But let me tell you some more about that. First off, it'll cost you $85 to sign up for it. TSA will have your fingerprint on file, plus you'll have to go through a background check that's with the FBI. Now, on top of this, before you're approved, you have to get an appointment weeks in advance. You know how I talked about that fingerprint just a minute ago? Well, travel experts say that can take hours. But there's another option to beating the lines this holiday weekend. There's a company called Clear. It's not available at all airports, mind you, but it's definitely something worth looking into. For $179 a year, you skip that appointment, you skip that complicated approval process, you sign up at the airport, you're good to go. You're escorted to the metal detectors, and then you verify your identity by a fingerprint or eye scan. But we've been talking to people this morning here at JAX who say when it gets right down to it, you really do just have to plan.
I'm just 1 hour early. I don't have my wife and kids with me today, so I brought my bag, and that's about all I have, so it should be easy to pass.
Very good. So it's good. It's always good to plan ahead. Is that your message to other travelers today? It's a busy time of year.
Definitely plan ahead. TSA is doing the best job that they can to get you through, but definitely come early and bring your black coffee.
This is my first time flying out of JAX, and I'm excited, but it is really important because who wants to be stuck in line on Memorial Day? It's a good weekend.
I agree with him there. It is a very good weekend, but again, it's still very early in the day. But as I mentioned, it's a lot smoother right now. Oh, look at that. People are excited to be on TV. But yeah, yes, you can pretty much just walk through. But like I said, day is still young, so you do have to plan ahead. And of course, always have safe travels and enjoy Memorial Day weekend. Live at JAX, Ashley Harding, Channel 4, the local station.
Leave early, exactly. Good advice. Thank you, Ashley. The Transportation Security Administration is testing out new technology at Hartsfield-Jackson Airport in Atlanta. It's using different scanners, really in an effort, of course, to speed up those wait times, getting through security. That's where we find Jasmine Vasujan, who is joining us live from the airport this morning. Good morning to you. All right, how are those lines? I mean, you are, after all, the busiest airport in the country.
The busiest airport in the country. We've been talking about the busy lines here at all the airports across the country, not only Atlanta, but in Chicago O'Hare, JFK, LaGuardia, LAX. They're busy, everybody. You know, I mean, you can see the lines. I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's a violinist behind me trying to entertain the passengers that are waiting on these security lines. The line is backed up all the way into the atrium. And this is also the busiest time of day. They say between 6:30 and 8:30 a.m. is the busiest time of day. Logically, you would think it would be after work around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m. when people are leaving work and they want to go on their 3-day vacation. But no, it is right now. And of course, TSA advising get to the airport at least 2 hours before your departure to make sure you make your flight. Because if you don't make your flight, you're not going to get on the flight afterwards because all the flights are booked on Memorial Day weekend, Jen.
So, Yasmin, we know that there's the modified scanners, as we mentioned before, but there's also been some other changes. You know, the way the security bins, for example, are refunneled, not by TSA, but by other staff. Are you seeing a difference? Because it looks like the backup's pretty intense.
It is pretty intense, and I'm glad that you do see it because it is pretty intense. People seem pretty happy, though, but it is pretty intense. So I actually walked over to the area where they have these new security screeners, these new bins. It's only 2 lanes out of 28 lanes, so important to keep that in mind. They say the efficiency of these lanes is going to up the efficiency of the TSA lines 25 to 35%. Here's how it works. So when you're standing in your TSA line and you're putting your bag on that conveyor belt, usually there might be someone in front of you who's kind of taking a long time to take their shoes off, right? Well, now your bin can funnel past them on a belt to go through the security. Then on the other end, if you or the passenger next to you has something suspicious in their bag, that bag will automatically be funneled on a belt over the area that it can be checked, and there won't be any backup. I know all of us have been on those lines where there's been such major backup because someone had, you know, left a liquid or something like that in their bag, and it's sort of backed the line for 5 or 10 minutes or so. Well, hopefully that won't happen anymore. Here's the thing. It's experimental here at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, and they're gonna be doing a lot of research to make sure that it can work at other airports. Once that's figured out, you'll start to see it across the country, but that could take up to 5 years. Delta Airlines says, no, we're going to make sure it happens faster, but right now TSA is saying it could take up to 5 years to see it across the country, Jen.
Jasmine Vasujan joining us live from the airport. Thank you very much. And 5 years, oh, to see a big difference. We hope it happens sooner than that. Thank you, Jasmine. Have a good day.
You know, the general manager at the airport there in Atlanta was fired because of all the problems with TSA. And for the people who stand in line and go, oh, I need my boarding pass, oh, I need to have ID, you're worse than rubberneckers when there's a traffic accident. We are working this morning to keep you and your friends and your family safe this holiday weekend, tracking the traffic for a system that could bring some strong surf to area beaches. Take you live right now to Jacksonville Beach, a high risk for rip currents through Monday. So if you're going to go in the water, even if you're a strong swimmer, Blake, the best advice is make sure that you're in front of a lifeguard. So what are the chances that my Bonnie's going to be lying over the ocean by the time the weekend's over?
Well, pretty good, Bruce. How about this? National Hurricane Center, as of last night, giving this an 80% chance of development at 8 o'clock this morning or thereabouts, maybe as late as a quarter after. The Hurricane Center will be giving us another update on this system. Hurricane hunters are expected to fly out into this system for today to see if indeed there is enough organization with this system to give it a name. If it does, the name would be, of course, Bonnie. Now you say, where's the A-storm? The A-storm happened way back in January with Hurricane Alex way out in the open Atlantic. Here's a look at the latest computer model forecast. As I put this into motion, you'll notice that basically all the models have it on a west-northwesterly track in the general direction of South Carolina. But then you begin to look at all the confusion here going on along the coast. The steering currents begin to break down, and the computer models really have no idea what happens to the system once it makes landfall. But the general idea here is that it will make landfall north of Jacksonville. We'll have more on what could be Tropical Storm Bonnie, as well as a look at your forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Now let's get a look at your Keith Pierce Toyota Time Saver traffic.
All right, now we're going to focus on the holiday travel, and that means we're going to see a lot more traffic, especially starting today with people getting out of school and starting to hit the roads, especially I-95 and I-10. So taking a peek at I-10, no delays just yet. Of course, heading eastbound once we hit rush hour, you will see some delays. That's from 295 over to the downtown area in Jacksonville. But if you are traveling towards the Baldwin area, even into McClenny, you are looking clear to go, especially along I-95 north and southbound. If you are heading towards the airport, I know we just checked that airport out with Ashley Harding. You're looking pretty good. I-95 at Duval Road, no delays to report north or southbound, but make sure you hit the airport a little bit early so you don't miss your flight. And also, I do want to give you a reminder, especially starting today through Monday, you can expect some delays. There's going to be extra travelers on the roadway throughout the weekend, especially passing through the Jacksonville area. You need to plan ahead and allow extra time. And also keep in mind, as you're passing through the downtown area, the Jazz Fest will be going on all weekend long. There are several road closures. Of course, you can check out News4Jax for that full list. That was your Keith Person Toyota Time Saver Traffic. Bruce.
If you're driving to your destination or just staying home, we have a great interactive traffic map on news4jax.com so you don't get stuck. Well, nearly 2 years after a well-known FSU law professor was shot and killed, deputies made an arrest. Tallahassee Democrat reports the killing may have been murder for hire.
Sigfredo Garcia is being held in the shooting death of Professor Daniel Markel. Now, he died after being shot in the head. According to Tallahassee.com, there could be as many as 6 more arrests. Police asked a judge, in fact, to seal the documents in this case yesterday and say they cannot release any more details until the investigation is finished.
Sheriff Mike Williams says he's looking for ways to improve transparency within JSO. It comes after a deadly police shooting, and the release of that seems to show a teenager being knocked unconscious by a corrections officer. News4Jax received a copy of a 2-page document being sent to the FBI requesting a full criminal and civil investigation into the shooting death of 22-year-old Vernell Bing. He was shot by a veteran police officer in Springfield over the weekend, and that shooting has sparked distrust and unrest in the community. Days later, this video was released by the public defender. It allegedly shows a corrections officer slamming a handcuffed teen against a wall. That officer was never disciplined, but he no longer works for the sheriff's office. Sheriff Mike Williams says he can't comment specifically on those cases or other recent incidents of police violence or pending court cases, but he did address transparency within the department.
I feel right now in the community is 2 things, a lack of understanding of the process and a lack of trust in the process. So we've got to look at that and how can we improve that, and that's what we've been talking about the last couple of days.
Sheriff Williams says he is also in favor of body cameras for officers, but he hasn't submitted that idea in the upcoming budget because he knows the money just isn't there. By the way, the cost would be something like $3 to $5 million. Top university officials facing the consequences after a law firm found Baylor University mishandled a number of sexual assault cases.
Melanie is following this story from the National World News Desk. Mel, head football coach Art Briles has been fired.
That's right. Also, the university has placed the athletic director Ian McCaw on probation and demoted the president, Kenneth Starr, to chancellor. The move comes after a law firm found the school mishandled several cases where football players were accused of attacking women. The university, in fact, released a statement saying the investigation revealed a fundamental failure. An update on the deadly concert shooting in New York City. Police say this surveillance video shows exactly what happened. That apparently is Troy Ave, a rapper, and he fired a gun at a T.I. concert. Roland Collins, that's his real name, was arrested on yesterday. Family members say the 33-year-old who was killed was a member of his entourage. 3 others were injured in that shooting. The mother of the affluenza teen has been indicted by a grand jury. Tanya Couch is accused of helping her son Ethan travel to Mexico after the teen was accused of violating his probation. He was on probation for killing 4 people in a drunk driving accident. He is now serving a 2-year jail sentence. President Obama is now the first sitting U.S. president to visit Hiroshima. The president and the Japanese prime minister entered the city's Peace Memorial Park together. President Obama, you see here, laying a wreath over that memorial and then talked about the devastating toll of war. People who survived the bombings were there to hear the president speak. He also went out and met some of them. He called it for the world to reject nuclear weapons. The president, though, did not apologize for the 1945 bombing, which killed more than 140,000 people. Jen, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mel. Severe weather has been slamming the country's midsection this week, Bruce.
And there's more on the way, Jen. The ongoing threat headed into the holiday weekend. High winds, heavy rain, possible flooding. Texas got a taste of it last night outside Houston. They saw what could be done when tornadoes rip through the state. A bright flash lights up the sky in what may have been a tornado barreling through College Station, Texas, Thursday. That frightening scene just part of the severe weather tearing through the state. Floodwaters leaving students stranded at an elementary school outside Houston. Other states are feeling the weather's fury as well. In Kentucky, police dash cam video captured a lightning strike that sounded more like a bomb. The concussion knocking the camera off its mount. Elsewhere in the state, high water left a group of college students trapped in a cave during a guided tour.
When we went in, it was ankle deep, and it was over almost chest deep when we got there.
Ultimately, rescuers were able to reach the group. This is as tornado warnings remained in effect Thursday for parts of several states, including Kansas, where this week's twisters left dozens of homes destroyed.
You just can't sit down and pity yourself, because these storms don't pick who they hit.
Air travel also impacted, with a tornado warning forcing an evacuation at Kansas City International.
Nothing's going anywhere for the foreseeable future.
And a thunderstorm bringing hail and a ground hold to Denver International. The effect on travel coming as much of the nation gets set to hit the road for Memorial Day weekend.
Wow.
And you've got some experience, actually, because you're from Texas. And that area is very familiar to you that was hit.
Yeah, I lived in College Station for 5 years. In fact, I reached out to my first chief meteorologist at a TV station there, and he's at KAGS, and the damage there is tremendous. Some of the homes, I mean, we're talking well-built brick homes that are just annihilated. So obviously, in the 5 years that I lived there, I did not see anything of that magnitude. Certainly, the pictures I've seen, a very large, wide, what we call a wedge tornado went through that town. Of course, that's also home of Texas A&M, a university of 60,000 students, and it missed the university just by a couple of miles. So tough stuff. Reminds me of the Tuscaloosa tornado that missed the University of Alabama just by a few miles back in 2011. Tough stuff out there. Thankfully, here locally, we are not looking for any tornadoes. Of course, we are monitoring the tropics, and I don't think we have to worry too much about what could be Tropical Storm Bonnie either. Here's a look at it right now. The National Hurricane Center giving this an 80% chance of development. The storm 550 miles east of Palm Beach, beginning to show a little bit more organization, but not a whole lot. Certainly anything but a classic hurricane out there. Again, continuing to push on off towards the north and west, at least according to some of the computer models here, or many of the computer models, I should say. Look at how tight what am I trying to say? Jen, what am I trying to say? The consensus, thank you. The consensus is what I'm looking at here is basically an indication that there's strong indication that this will head up towards South Carolina. However, once it gets there, you can see it opens up quite a bit. Does it head back towards our general area to bring us rainfall? Does it move out towards the north and east? We don't know at this point. We just know that the initial landfall point appears to be somewhere around the Charleston area. Right now, a beautiful morning out there. 60 degrees in Jacksonville, 75 in Fernandina Beach, 74 degrees in Jacks Beach. Easterly winds between 5 and 10 miles an hour. What you can expect for the rest of your day, mostly clear start to your day, a nice and sunny afternoon, and Bonnie likely later on today, if not today, heading into Saturday, because the hurricane hunters will fly it later on this afternoon as well as on Saturday morning to see if there's enough organization to give this a name. 60 degrees is the current temperature in Waycross. Temperature is actually nice and comfortable everywhere, with the exception of St. Augustine, still nice and balmy there at 76 degrees. An onshore flow between 5 and 10 miles an hour for a lot of locations. Just really a perfect morning out there. Tremendous flooding going on in Texas once again around the Houston area. 15 to 20 inches of rainfall. Just unparalleled. Never seen anything like that, especially back to back. But again, our eyes focus on what is right now Invest 91L that will continue to push its way towards the southeastern coastline. So sunny and dry here across Florida. This storm system will continue, likely to turning into Tropical Storm Bonnie, pushing up into South Carolina, heading into your Memorial Day weekend. Here locally, this paints it really well. You'll see a little pinwheel begin to develop out along our coast. A few coastal showers not out of the question as this thing passes on by to our north. And again, rainfall totals here. Check this out and let this roll. You'll see again our little pinwheel developing on off to our east, but the rain accumulation here, very little, if any at all. So don't cancel your plans if you're headed to the beach. Pinpoint forecast numbers for today shaping up like this. 81 degrees at Jacks Beach, Ponte Vedra, 82 down in St. Augustine, 87 World Golf, 85 degrees up in Callahan. Pinpoint numbers up in southeastern Georgia shaping up pretty much the same. Those mid-80s is what it looks like there for today. For our inland Florida zones, pinpoint numbers shaping up a little on the warm side. I would shave about a degree or two off of these, so mid-80s looks like a pretty good possibility for you folks there as well. Your Memorial Day forecast shaping up like this: 91 degrees, a northwesterly wind 5 to 15 miles an hour, perhaps a little gusty out along the immediate beaches, but again, just a very slight chance of rain, 20 to 30%. Is about all we can muster. 85 degrees here on Tuesday. Beautiful, warm, and sunny for today. Again, your hour-by-hour forecast: 70 degrees at 9 o'clock, 85 at 3, 84 degrees at 6. Sunny and warm once again for today. 7-day outlook. Jazz Fest going on through Sunday. 86 to 90 degrees on Sunday. Memorial Day, 91. Subsidence on the west side of that storm as it passes by. Mostly sunny skies. Again, a few passing showers, especially along the immediate coast. Rain chances go up Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with what remains of Bonnie perhaps pushing in our general direction. Time check 7:20. Let's get a look at the roadways with the Keith Pearson Toyota Time Saver Traffic.
Now, here's Keith Pearson Toyota Time Saver Traffic.
Thank you so much, Blake. We're starting to see those rush hour delays build. I'll get to the west side in just a moment, but first we are watching a crash here. This is along Blanding Boulevard at Argyle Forest Boulevard. The intersection is partially blocked, and we do have a DOT camera over in that area to show you what it's like. Now, it's a little far back, so it's really difficult to see, so I'm going to use this little white circle here. You can see there's some troopers still on the scene. The intersection partially blocked, but you still will be able to get through that area. Some minor delays as you're heading in both directions, just because you're probably trying to wonder what's going on and you're slowing down for those troopers there. So keep that in mind as you're passing through, especially trying to get to I-295. And along I-10, we're seeing those delays. This is from Cassett Avenue heading eastbound over to the I-95 split. You will be slow moving there because of rush hour traffic moving around 32 miles per hour, and those delays continue onto I-95 southbound. If you're planning to use the Fuller Warren Bridge to head towards the San Marco area, you'll be moving at 26 miles per hour. That was your Keith Pearson Toyota Time Saver Traffic. Bruce, Jen.
Well, we've talked a lot about those long lines and delays for airplane passengers. What major slowdowns are costing the airlines ahead in Money Matters.
And Lonzie Barton's mother is being transferred to a new prison where she will be serving her sentence ahead. And a health alert that you do not want to miss.
A superbug that can't be killed with antibiotics, and it's here in the U.S.